Welcome to the weekend edition of the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. I'm Michael Thompson, and hello, Sean Aylmer.
Hello, Michael.
Sean, on weekdays, it's all about the Fast 5, the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. On the weekend, we still keep it to 5 minutes, of course, but we're going to pick out the biggest story of the week, the sleeper story, one that's flying under the radar a little bit, the most remarkable business story, and then our favourite story as well. Do you want to kick us off with the biggest story of the week?
Yes, politics. Plenty going on with Parliament sitting. Let's start with the NDIS. Minister Bill Shorten struck a deal with the states and territories to pass Labor's overhaul of the scheme, bringing to an end a months-long standoff over legislation designed to slow the ballooning cost of the program, trying to save $14 billion over 4 years. The debate over Gaza and refugees coming into Australia is starting to impact the government. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese this week had to confirm that a number of visitor visas granted to Palestinian refugees fleeing Gaza have been cancelled. The issue there is a visitor visa versus a refugee visa, less stringent security checks on the visitor visa. The deal done between the government and coalition, meaning every state and territory construction division of the CFMEU will soon be administration. Prime Minister had to bat back attacks about his proposed gambling reforms. There was changes to pornography rules, pay hikes for nearly 2,000 federal public staffers as well. Plenty going on in politics.
Yeah, it certainly was. Quite a week on the economics front, but one big story, the release of the Reserve Bank board minutes. Really, it was a surprise because we obviously hear a lot now with Governor Michelle Bullock speaking after every meeting. So it was a bit of a surprise to see in the Reserve Bank board minutes just how worried they are about inflation and about the strength of the economy, perhaps more worried than we would previously have thought. They did consider lifting the cash rate to 4.6% from 4.35% because the economy is too hot. Inflation isn't falling as quickly as possible. They're worried about a looming increase in economic growth and a rise in household spending and the outlook for government spending. But in the end, the message that we really took out of that this week, Sean, is that everything is uncertain at the moment. They use the word uncertain 13 times in the board minutes. That sounds like there's a little bit of uncertainty.
Sure does. Michael, what was your most remarkable story for the week?
Oh, I think there's only one nominee for this one, Sean. It was the sheer weight of celebrity behind Kamala Harris at the Democratic National Convention this week in the US. They are officially there to award her the nomination, which she accepted, but it does have the feel of a giant pep rally because they busted out the star power, all the biggest names in US politics as far as the Democrats go. Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton. You had a few entertainers there as well. Kamala Harris spoke, obviously. Rolled out the big guns with Oprah, didn't they? She's a registered independent, which is quite significant because she has very broad appeal. She sure knows how to get people fired up. By the end of the week, though, it was almost possible to forget that the week actually started with Joe Biden. He was the big name on night one. He is still the president. He delivered a more powerful address than we've seen from him in a while. Did kind of lose his way, though, once during it, perhaps confirming that the right decision has been made. In the end, it is all now official. The stage is set for Harris v. Trump.
Going to be fun. 75 days away. Can I tell you my sleeper story, Michael?
Oh, please do. What have you found?
Look, it's been a while since there's been good news from the shopping mall owners. They've been buffeted by COVID-19, the surge in online retailing, more recently higher interest rates and cost of living problems. But this week, two of the biggest mall owners have provided some good news. Vicinity, which owns Chadstone in Melbourne and the Queen Victoria building in Sydney, said occupancy rates are back to their highest level since before the pandemic. In some CBD malls, Emporium in Melbourne, for example, QVB in Sydney, 99.6% occupancy rates, better than pre-pandemic. Great news for all the CBDs, particularly Melbourne, which has really hit hard. So all those smaller retailers, coffee shops in the city, they're going to benefit from that. Centre Group, which owns the Westfield malls in Australia, said its occupancy rate at its 42 destinations is 99.3%. Pretty good. Guess what, Michael? The shopping mall is back in fashion.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? All right, favourite story, Sean, what have you got?
Mine came from Suncorp, the insurance company. Read an insurance earnings report and you find out what's going on in the world. Suncorp, of course, owns Amy and GIO, among other brands. Basically, they said premiums are going to hike. Bad news, but why are they going to hike? Well, a few things. The abundance of water pipes in homes is causing many of the problems. People now have 3 or 4 bathrooms, not 1 or 2. They also have lots of those fridges that dispense ice and chilled water. Lower quality piping is used in construction over the years isn't helping. Nowadays, homes are more likely to be open plan, so a leak in the kitchen flows through to other rooms. Then there's the issue of how close homes are built to each other. Damage in one can lead to damage in another. Then, of course, people now have many more lithium batteries, upping the fire risk. The point here is when you look at a profit result like Suncorp's, you actually really see how changes in society interact with business and how that flows back to our premiums.
I love how serious your favourite story was, Sean. When I'm about to tell you about one of the most extravagant, possibly ridiculous stories I've ever heard, it is out of the US. It is about the new trend to save money, perhaps. It's about weddings. They're expensive. They cost about $35,000 each in the US at the moment, except for this couple who decided to charge guests to attend their wedding. They weren't having one of those $35,000 weddings though, Sean. No. This was $150,000 for theirs. They charged guests $333 each for a ticket. They had 350 people on the guest list. 60 people bought tickets, secured them a place on a double-decker bus on a 12-hour adventure in New York. What do they get for the money? Well, they got to be on that bus that was fully customized. It was fully decorated with the couple's faces, had QR codes, everything. They had sound meditation on the bus, a whole lot of other treats. They even shut down Fifth Avenue in Manhattan so they could have their first dance in the street. No wonder it cost a bomb. It may be the new trend, though, treating your wedding as an experience and selling tickets to it. See what I mean? It was a little bit frivolous after your very worthy story there, Sean.
Mad, I think.
Yeah, a little bit crazy. All right, there we go. 5 minutes and pretty much everything you need to know in the world of business. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Michael.
We'll be back on Monday morning with the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Don't forget to hit follow and join us online on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook and X. I'm Michael Thompson and this is the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed.